Bitcoin right now is at an absolute all-time high in terms of emotions. We are at a point now where we've been in this macro range for 7-8 months now, and Bitcoin cannot pump or dump more than 1% without one side aggressively attacking the other. We have perma bulls calling for all-time highs, 200k, 300k. We have perma bears calling for 20k, 15k, and very small moves cause this emotion, and this is exactly where the market makers want you. And so for this reason, I think something big is brewing, and I think that something big that's brewing is we're gonna know soon. Okay, we've been in this range for quite some time, and I think that it is finally happening. What do I mean by it? I mean, I believe we will see either 74k or 49k. In other words, either break the range high or break the range low relatively soon. Of course, we have the elections and all the emotions that come with that as well, but in general, we are very flip-floppy. And the funny thing about what's going on right now is that whether you've been a perma bull or a perma bear, you're wrong. Everybody that's been calling for higher or lower has been wrong. Literally everybody. It hasn't gone higher, it hasn't gone lower. And so it's kind of entertaining to see the aggression from one side or the other, as if they took it personally, like as if you hit their mom with a car or something. Anyways, this video is to potentially give you what I'm looking at in general and find out or try to follow along which way this thing is going to break. Because the truth is, if anybody tells you that they know that it's going to break out, they don't know. If anybody's telling you that they know it's going to break down, they don't know. The only thing that we can do is follow the data that we have in real time in front of us and try to make an educated, I don't want to say prediction, because we don't necessarily need to predict. You can just react to it, but we need to try to make sense of this beast of a range, right? There are people, like I said, calling for much lower. There are also people saying the giant cup and handle thing and then the bull flag thing. Whatever the case is, whatever the narrative is, I guarantee you this, both sides at some point are going to get wrecked, and you know, we're starting to see it. So I want to go over what I'm looking at right now, where my line in the sand is, and what I think. And I'm not here to make a prediction as to whether or not we're going to go higher, break out of this range, or break down within this range. I'm here to make a prediction that I believe we will be breaking out in one direction or the other relatively soon, perhaps within the next few weeks, perhaps in the next month. But I'm not here to tell you whether it's going to be to the upside or to the downside. You're here to tell me that. So let me know in the comments down below, after you watch this video, of course, which way you think it is evidently going to break. And I'll tell you this, I don't think that it's going to break, or sorry, fake out one side or the other. Okay, I think the next time we head in either direction, remember, we are dead center of the range basically right now. I think whichever way we go next is the way that it's going to break. I don't think that this range is sustainable in itself to remain this way. Okay, so what am I looking at? Well, a few videos ago, I told you that I went swing short, and I am still swing short from the high. I have closed out my other positions. I unfortunately did not get the long. I'm not going to sit here and say that I did. My long got front run ever so slightly. I was ready for it. I was waiting for it, but it didn't hit. You know, perhaps I could have included the fair value gap. I think on Bybit, it didn't actually hit my order block with the fair value gap, so that's quite unfortunate. I need to get back into the habit. I guess not back into the habit, but I need to gain the habit of flipping through my exchanges to make sure, okay, it hit here, it didn't hit here, etc. Nonetheless, we had a naked monthly point of control lower. I was expecting a little bit lower, or at the very least, a range to form here at the lows. Okay, we obviously didn't get that. We have literally been up only now for 28 hours straight. Okay, 28 hours, 27 hours. It has been literally up only, zero retracements. You didn't even have market structure confirmation on the 1 minute time frame from this low. Okay, not even a 1 minute confirmation did you get. And Market Cipher also did not really give you the best confirmations here at the low. We have 1 hour divergences. We have 4 hour divergences. You wouldn't have been able to catch the low, and you wouldn't have had a proper, we'll call it highly educated place to put your stop loss. That's probably not the best wording, but we're going to stick with it, okay? So what am I looking at overall? Well, I told you that I'm still in my swing short. I took profit along the way. And if I see what I want to see, I will look to add to it. However, my answer is simply based around structure. My narrative hasn't changed, right? Remember, many people are very emotional, and this move, the actual movement didn't take me off guard. Why? Because whenever you have structure, right? We followed our 4-hour structure. We have high, we have low, we have high, we flipped bearish, we had a lower high, and then we made a lower low. Whenever you do a break of structure like we did here, you will typically get a retracement of some kind to then make a continuation to the upside. And you can see the same thing happened on our uptrend, right? You had low, you had high, you had retracement. Then you had continuation, then you had retracement. Then you had continuation, then you had retracement. This is just simply how the market moves. And so the expectation right now is to make a lower high, to make a lower low. Where can that lower high to lower low be? It can come into places like the 786, which we're in right now. It can come into order blocks, which we are in right now. It can come to levels of liquidity grabs, which it is in right now. So this is the best place, if any, in my opinion, for price to actually continue to have its downtrend if it's going to continue downwards. Remember when I said I'm not here to make a prediction? I'm not here to make a prediction. If I see confirmation, in other words, 1 hour or 15 or 30-minute structure flip bearish up here, then I believe it is safer to assume that the lower high on the 4-hour is in. However low we take it, that's to be determined. Things change literally all the time. But because they front ran the 12-hour time frame that I'm looking at here, and because everybody is very emotional when it comes to these markets, and you can see it, guys, they're giving you these big swings. People are on, I'm telling you, they're very hostile. Everybody's very hostile right now. You could be right for, 3 months in a row, and then you're wrong about one fast, and not even wrong, but a fast move happens in the opposite direction, and people are already out here with the claws, right? So my point is I believe that the best play, the best course of action right now is to not get caught up in the noise like I always suggest not to do, but to follow structure. And right now, until proven otherwise, this is the structure, right? The expectation is lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So for me, the line in the sand is to start closing candles above around 64K, 64.4, 64.4444. If we do that, then I believe that we are likely going to see all-time highs. And the reason for that is, remember my conviction as to why I didn't actually believe that the low was in, or at least around here, and a lot of liquidity was being built? It's because I believe that if the low is truly going to be in, they're not going to give many people a chance to get into the market, okay? I believe that if the low is truly in, it's going to be something like this, where you had a fake out to the downside, sharp move out, and then bang, see you later, okay? That's personally what I believe. Something like this. This is the perfect fake out. Perfect example of what I'm talking about. Fake move to the downside, and then bam, up you go. Never came back. See you later. Sayonara. I don't think it's going to look like this. I don't think this looks like a low to me. That doesn't mean that I'm not saying that I'm saying it's going to break down. No, remember, it's your job to tell me what you think. But my whole idea was this is too much time. I don't think we're going to all-time high based off of this leg in itself, because it just took too long. It took too long, and I think they're going to see you later. And right now, this move is very reminiscent of see you later. Okay, it's like I said, they didn't even give you 1 minute structure to work with. Market cipher didn't look like it would produce this much of a move. And remember, I'm not surprised at the move. I'm surprised at how fast we came here, and the fact that we had 0 retracements for the past 28 hours, okay? So, for me, my line in the sand is 64K. Now, we do have a brief level above 64K, give or take, that we could reject from, should they choose to do that. But depending on how long it takes, and if we even get up there, and is it a wick, what the internal structure looks like at that time, will determine whether or not I believe that it is still bearish or bullish. Because technically speaking, when you're following your structure, you can SFP that high to then SFP the low, right? That could happen. I'm not saying it can't. Like, this is, I mean, it's not really an SFP on the 4-hour, but it definitely is on the 6, on the 8, right? So that could definitely happen. However, I don't think that they would have faked you down like this just to fake you up, just to come back down. It feels like a weird move if they were to do something like this. And for that reason, I believe if they faked everybody out here, remember, and I've said this many times on the channel, this is a very manipulated range in terms of volume, and then we broke below it. And then, you know, again, there's many reasons to go lower. There's obviously reasons to go higher as well. But this is, for me, the line in the sand, because if you start to break above this level, then you're basically reclaiming this very manipulated high volume range area, and you're flipping your 4-hour structure back to bullish right after you flip to bearish, right? You flip bearish, and then you basically flipped back to bullish right away. And typically when that happens, in my opinion anyway, that ends up being the actual move. So could that be the low? Yes, that could have been the low. Is it the low 100%? I don't know. And I'm not here to tell you that I do know, because I could never know that, just like you could never know that. But I think that we are what I'm going to call overextended in terms of this macro range. I do think we're destined for a breakout or a breakdown. And I think that we're going to know here soon, because if this level holds, my line in the sand, and you get another break below, it's at a point now where there's so much volatility and so much manipulation that I don't really know if these lower zones are going to work. If I pull my TA back up, I have a level here, I have a level here. I'm not going to do it so perfectly, but we have multiple levels, and I'm not so sure that after getting an aggressive move like this, where money flow is as thick as it is, I'm not so sure that we're going to come back down only to come back up later. So to me, the line in the sand is basically 64444 with a little bit of wiggle room, because you could have a 4-hour SFP, so you could still come higher by a few $1,000s and then fake down, whatever. But I think that this is a very highly manipulated area, like I said, and I think that whichever way we get out of this zone is going to be the way that the all-time high, or we either head to all-time high or we head to 49K, or potentially like down to these low 50s. I don't know which way it's going to go. I have absolutely no idea. These are instances in which we can use potentially Market Cipher to help us, give us an idea. Market Cipher, not on Binance, but on the other exchanges, have bearish divergences on the monthly, but then we have thick money flow and potential cheat sheet entries on the weekly. But then the 3-day time frame has money heavily pouring out with a Jesus take the wheel pattern. And then the daily is kind of bullish now. All of a sudden, it's bullish again, as opposed to where it was yesterday. It looked horrible. I tweeted yesterday that on Market Cipher A, we had a blood diamond here. Not only is this no longer a blood diamond, but it is now a continuation diamond. So huge fake out in this last day. And it all, in my opinion, stems from this very highly manipulated range that we talked about, that pulled the point of control down from the macro range. In this 7-day period, it pulled it down by 5%. So I believe this is going to give you the answer. I think that, again, 64444, 64444, you get it. I think that is going to be the line in the sand. I think that I just don't see a world where we continue down and we don't, if we come back down, I don't see a world where we don't sweep all of this. I don't see any of those other zones. Like this to happen, I don't see it. I don't know. Again, I could be wrong, but I don't see it. And I also don't see a world where we come back, take these highs, and then come back down. I don't see that either. Of course, things can change. And of course, I have to adjust with the data that's presented in front of me in real time, like the data that's presented in front of you in real time. I don't have a crystal ball. If I did, believe me, I wouldn't be making YouTube videos. But that's what I think, and ultimately, this high here is basically the last thing to stop Bitcoin from coming to all this liquidity, which is why I think this is relatively the line in the sand. We do have a couple of other zones. Okay, we do. You could reject from here, but if you start to reject from here, remember, I don't really think that it's going to be I don't think that it's going to do that. I just don't see it happening. So if we do end up getting a rejection from here, which we could get a reaction from here for sure, I think I would be looking more towards a higher low to make a higher high, or potentially, if this is going to be a significant low for now, because we front ran that 12-hour, getting something like this where you SFP that low and then go higher. But ultimately, I think that this is the line in the sand. If you start to break this area, right, you start closing up here, you start dancing around up here, I think it's just a matter of time before all-time high. But if you don't, and this is the answer, structure's always going to give you the answer, right? If that happens, then I just think we're going to go lower. But What I do know for sure is that I know two things. Number one, nothing in trading is guaranteed, but I know guaranteed emotions are at an all-time high. And so I wanted to make this kind of quick update, more of a discussion as to kind of what I'm thinking as a whole. And let me know. I'm very curious to what you're thinking. Look at how thick the money flow is, guys. We are very much so in up-only mode. Like, this is crazy. This is the type of move where they don't let people get back into their... Get it, like, you know... Anyways, it is what it is. Don't let my opinions and my opinion influence your decision. But I'm curious, and please don't be an asshole about it. You know, just tell me what you think. Tell me why you think it. Back it up. Whatever you think, let me know what you think. I'm open to discussion. I'm open to dialogue. Be respectful about it. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. I think the last few weeks have served us very well. We've been crushing it. I am nodding along, like I said, because they front ran my level by like $100, less even. And then you had no way to get in. I had no way to get in, and I wasn't about to try to catch a knife. I wasn't about that life. So, you know, that's okay. I don't need to get into every trade, and neither do you, right? I can scalp it. I don't, you know, if that's the low to all-time high, I don't feel FOMO. I don't care. I'll just get the next dip, or I'll get, you know what I mean? Like, I can... Anyways, doesn't matter. I made more money in terms of percentages in this entire area than from here to all-time high. So no sweat, you know? Anyways, that's it for this video. If you like the content, make sure to like. If you loved it, hit the subscribe button with the notification bell so you can get my video updates fast. Sometimes I make them very fast. Today we went live. You know, we had a good live stream trying to scalp. Didn't get into any positions, but trying to scalp. Shout out to the Nexus if you're looking to join the VIP Discord, where I give all my levels, streams every morning, and multiple updates throughout the day. Multiple updates. The link for that is in the description down below. And yeah, let me know in the comments, what do you think? Do you think it's going to break out, or do you think it's going to break down, and why? I'll catch you guys next week.